Let's dance in style, let's dance for a while. Heaven can wait, we're only watching the skies, hoping for the best but expecting the worst. Are you gonna drop the bomb or not? Let us die on, let us live forever. Don't have the power but we never say never. Sitting in the sandpit, life is a short trip. Music's for the sad man. Can you imagine when this race is run? Turn our golden faces into the sun, praising our leaders, getting in tune. The music's played by the madman. And I had a dream about my old school, and she was there all pink and gold and glittering. I threw my arms around her legs, came to weeping, came to weeping.
At Collingridge and Smith, we focus heavily on the social and the cultural aspects when we design, and I think that's one of the things that really clinched the award we got from the World Green Building Council for the Timuramira project. Reflecting the day, it goes back to one of the early projects I did way back in England. We did a whole new school, and we had a girl came up to us at the end of the project, sixth form, and said, "You don't know what this means to me, but it's basically created a whole opportunity for me to go to university now, which I never would have had." So you know, when you get feedback like that, you realise that you're changing lives with it. So that's why we're so passionate to do these types of building. I mean, one of the things that we always do with all our centres is put a key focus onto a big natural playground. And again, that's picking up on the sort of environmental and social aspects. It's something that we're starting to do a little bit of research into. There's early research in it. There's a town called Reggio Emilia in Italy that's looked at this for many years in the early childhood settings, but we're starting to do our own research now based on our centres and based on the New Zealand context. We're getting some really interesting feedback as to how positive that is in early children's lives, but also in their entire life moving forward. I mean, being in this sort of semi-industrial area, it was actually quite good building product-wise because most of the manufacturers are just down the road. So, from an environmental point of view, the sort of mileage on a lot of building products was actually fantastic because they were all from very close by, which was a key sort of element in what we picked to go on the building and in the playground. When we come to design, we always like to start with the genius loci, or the sort of spirit of the place. And so, I mean, you can see from the trees here, that was really the essence of what we had on this site. And we started from that viewpoint that the trees were the real sort of focus of the design. And so over that, we looked at the other sort of cultural and spiritual aspects on top of that as to what should be our design cues to start with. We looked at the cultural representation of the trees and what that meant in the local Maori culture. And so the trees take on the form of tane, separating rangi and papa to create the world of light. And so we created the void around the trees to separate out the functional aspects of the building, but also to represent symbolically That separation and the creation of the world of light, that the building then takes on the form of papa in an embrace around the trees, which is how you get the form that curves around the trees. The black of the building is another sort of aspect that we picked up on symbolically, the void, things like that. We kept the building very simple because we wanted it to be a sort of backdrop to the trees, and the playground itself being under the trees really is the sort of real key element. The children are out here all the time, so we really wanted to sort of get the building to showcase what was already here. So we downplayed the building in that sense as a backdrop. Around the outside of it, we've then used various sort of sculptural elements like the sails, take on a symbolic meaning as well, but we've used them as a sort of sculptural element to form the shape of the building. Yeah, the challenges to this project were numerous when we first started. The trees, whilst the key feature, were also a key encumbrance to the site, and so obviously we had to be outside of the drip lines and things like that. The building itself, I think, speaks volumes to an early childhood building, and we've done many of these now, so the actual buildings, I think, represent everything that a good childcare centre needs to have. I think the longevity of the building will be something that we'll certainly watch keenly. I think with all buildings, when they become a real social hub, then the local community really embrace that, and if you can do that and achieve it really well, then the building takes on a life of its own and persists way beyond anything that we could ever imagine.